उद्घाट्य योगकलया हृदयाब्जकोशं धन्यैश्चिरादपि यथारुचि गृह्यमाणः यः प्रस्फुरत्यविरतं परिपूर्णरूपः श्रेयस्स मे दिशतु शाश्वतिकं मुकुन्दः अमरीकवरीभारभ्रमरी मुखरीकृतं दूरीकरोतु दुरितं गौरी चरणपङ्कजं परस्परतपःसम्पत्फलायित परस्परौ प्रपञ्चमातापितरौ प्राञ्चौ जायापतिस्तुमः. We're doing the Aprastutaprashamsa. We just started last time. Continue with that. Aprastutaprashamsa syat sa yatra prastutashraya ekah kriti shakunteshu yo anyam shakrat na yachate. So here atra sarvabhaumam bina anyam kshudram prabhum na prarthaye iti abhimanashalinaha vrittantasya prastutasya. So the prastutam here is Aprastuta prashamsa is usually aprastutameva tatra prashasyate in the aprastutam, that is the non-contextual is explained in the vachya level. In the vachya level, you go to the pratiyamanam, which is the prastutam, that is, it is explained only with the idea of the context in mind. It is never a random thing that someone has said and we are applying to it to something or not. Tatha nasti atra with a prastutam in mind only, the aprastutam is being explained or described. So here sarvabhaumam prati vina anyam kshudram sarvabhaumaha iti chet tatra a great king is being addressed here, and without unless it is a great king, I will not go and ask stand in front of any other kshudra king, any other smaller king. Iti kasyachit abhimanashalinaha, someone who has a great self-esteem, such a person is saying that there is only one pakshi among all the pakshis. It is only the chataka bird which is the best bird because it does not ask from anybody else other than Trilokadhipati, other than Indra. So aprastutena prastuta avagatihi prastuta aprastutayoho sambandhe sati bhavati. So when there is a connection between the prastutam and the aprastutam, only then can you say that there is a aprastuta prashamsa. Sambandha can be the connection between the context and the non-context, can be of many types. One is sarupyam, that's what we saw here. The next one is samanya vishesha bhavaha. Third is karyakarana bhavaha. The fourth, these are the three things. So sarupya nibandhanayaha udaharanameva ekah kriti iti. Samanya vishesha bhava, samanyat visheshasya, visheshat samanyasya. You can have samanya vishesha bhavetu. There are two more categories where the prastutam can be the samanyam and the aprastutam can be the vishesha, whereas the aprastutam can be the vishesha or the the other way around, vice versa. Karyakarana bhava can also have two categories where karyat karanasya pratitihi, karanat karyasya pratitihi, aprastutat prastutasya pratitihi. Tadeva vartate. Okay. So etesham chaturnam udaharanani anubandhe drashtavyani. We'll just do the difference between these two and then go to the anubandha here. Samasoktau slishta visheshana balat prastutat aprastuta vrittanta avagatihi. The difference between samasokti and aprastuta prashamsa, it is actually the reverse. What is in the vachyam? The vachya in samasokti is prastutam. It is the context. From the context there is a image of a non-context coming up in the pratiyamanam. Because of the visheshanas which have slesha. So slesha baladeva tatra prastuta vrittantaha tu varnyate eva, parantu slesha upayogat tatra aprastuta vrittantasyapi spurtihi bhavati iti samasokti. Parantu aprastuta prashamsayam vachye aprastutaha eva vartate. Aprastuta vrittantaha vartate and prastuta vrittantaha tu pratiyate. Sarupyadi sambandhena aprastutat prastuta pratitihi. You can look at the examples in the Anubandha and then go, actually, this is an example of the Sarupya Nibandhana, and then I think the rest are all in the Anubandha. So we'll do this Aparam Udaharanam and then look at the Anubandha. Abadha Kritrima Sata Jatilamsa Bhittihi आरोपितो मृगपतेः पदवीं यदिश्वा मत्तेभकुम्भतटपाटन लम्पटस्य नादं करिष्यति कथं हरिणाधिपस्य வந்து आबद्ध कृत्रिम सटा जटिलांस भित्तिः. You know the case of how a fox tries to imitate some other animal and then comes in or a sheep, a wolf in a sheep skin. This is the expression we use in English, right? In Tamil வந்து இந்த அல்பத்துக்கு போஷ் வந்தாம்போ அந்த மாதிரி. But then it's the episode is of a dog trying to imitate a lion. So Shwa yadi mrigapatehe padavim aropitaha, if a dog is being put on the padavi, on the status of a mrigapati, mrigapatihi to simhaha eva. So simhasya pade aropitaha chet, how is he being put on that? He is first we try to give him a disguise like a sheepskin, what we say, right? So abadha kritrima sata jatila amsa bhittihi, his amsa bhitti, he has a shoulder where the full range of the mane of a simha has been abadham, it has been tied. It is an artificial sata jatilam. Sata is the mane of a simha. Simhasya keshaha. We don't say keshaha. We only say sataha. Right? So simhasya sata iva anyat kritva, kritrimam kritva. Tatra it is being tied with that mane. So abadha kritrima sata or abadha kritrima sata jatilam. Tena तथा भवति अंशभित्तिः. अंशभित्तिः आबद्धा वर्तते केन कृत्रिमसटा जटिलेन आबद्धा वर्तते. So that's how you have to make the vigraha vakyam for this. So is that part is clear, right? You once you write down the formula, you will know whether that is coming together or not. So abadha kritrima sata jatilena amsa bhittihi, the shoulder is being tied with the artificial mane, and tadrishaha shwa kukuraha mrigapatehe padavim aropitaha, it is been appointed in the position of a simha. That is fine, but then what can it do? Can it imitate the roar of a lion? It can only bark. No matter however you try to disguise it as a lion, it can only bark. It cannot roar like a lion. Matta ibha kumbha tata patana lampatasya harinadhipasya. Lampataha kushalaha. Harinadhipaha mrigapatihi. The simha, again, this is not, don't take this as the king of deer, but it is more like simha, how you say mrigapatihi, the same way you say harinadipaha, that's all. So the simhasya nadam katham karishyati, how can it produce the nadam, the sound of the lion, which is lampata, which is an expert in patanam bhedanam, in breaking the kumbhatata, the temples of a matta iba, of an intoxicated elephant. So it is the roar of an elephant, the roar of a lion, which is capable of killing a young elephant. That roar is something that cannot be imitated by the dog, even though the dog has been fitted with a mane and put on the stage. Clear? So this is the aprastutam. This is not the context. Someone wants to describe a context here. What is the context? You are trying to ask a moodha to you are making in the idu madri dharmi kadalya in Thiruvilayadal. He is not a poet at all, but then you give him the status of a poet and then ask him to go and stand in the stage in front of the king and ask him to recite a poetry, but everybody will call him out for a fool there. So atra mrigapatehe padam aropitaha api shwa simhasya nadam na karishyati iti aprastuta shunaka vrittanta varnanam. This is the aprastuta vrittantaha. and it is about a shunakaha. It is about a dog. Tat sarupyat, because of a similarity, kritrima vesha vyavahara matrena vidvajjanavat vidvajjanavat abhinayavat. Abhinayataha, yes. Abhinayataha मूर्खस्य वृत्तान्ते पर्यवस्यति इति अप्रस्तुत प्रशंसा. This is indicating that the मूर्ख, a fool, is like this dog, and that fool is being disguised as a scholar, and he is put onto stage. Yes, he may look the part. He may be so charismatic and all that. He has that part, all fine. But then when he opens his mouth, nothing is going to come. Nirakshara kukshi iti. So vidvajjanavat kritrima vesha vyavahara matrena, just by putting on an artificial disguise of a scholar, vidvajjanavat abhinayataha murkhasya, a fool who is abhinayat, who is performing, who is acting out like a scholar, when he opens his mouth, he cannot speak like a scholar. He can only speak like himself. It will reveal immediately when he opens his mouth. That is why it is said maunam apanditana. Maunam is the bhushanam for murkha. Iti prastuta vrittante paryavasyati. Yeah.
This is like that uyera parandalum uyera parandalum oorkuruvi parandahadu.
Oorkuruvi parandahadu. Yeah.
That adhika alankara, how is this different from this aprastutaprashamsa?
Adhika alankarakum idukum sambandhame illa. Adhika alankara is about the adharadheya bhav. Itaswapiti keshavaha Keshavaha kulam itaha tadiya dusham asuranam kulaha kulam api atra shete atra Keshavaha api shete atra sharanarthinam shikharinam ganaha api sherate itaha api vadavanalaha saha samasta samvartakai vitatam urjitam bharasaham cha sindhor vapuhu. Samudra, when you think of the ocean is not bigger than all of these, but there are in one corner, this is kalpa bedena sarve api bhavishyanti tatra samudre, but we say the adheya is more than the adhara, but the adhara seems to hold all of the adheya. Have you gone to these in certain river sides? You will find the way people arrange stones. There will be a very small stone as a fulcrum, and then they will arrange a huge stone on top of that small stone in a balanced manner, such that it will not even fall. Have you seen that? In some river
sculptures, right? Some sculptures they
do. It is like stone sculpture, but actually they don't stick it together.
Correct.
They analyze. They analyze each stone to find out how they can stand on their own, and the bigger stone can stand on that small stone also. It's that understanding of balance and weight. It's something like that. So the adhara is maybe small, but it has a lot of adheya on it. That is adhika.
It is not like talking about the aprastutam of the samudram and talking about the mahanta.
No. அது வேணும்னா அதையும் எடுத்துக்கலாம். You can also take it as Aprastutha Prashamsa and apply it depending on where the shloka is being used. See, every Niti Shataka shloka is used with a purpose there.
Okay.
So it is an Aprastutha Prashamsa.
Niti Shataka?
Yeah. It is a Niti Shataka.
Yeah. In Niti Shatakam, if you find such shlokas where the Mahatma or the Manashaurya Paddhati ityadi Paddhatyam, if that the context is not mentioned of how a great person behaves or how the Devam acts ityadikam, if it is not mentioned and it is about some completely non-relevant, but you can connect it to the present, then it is an Aprastutha Prashamsa.
Okay.
There is also adhika alankara here in the shloka. Okay. Look at the anubandha. Sorry. and see if we can go over some of the shlokas just to understand how Samanya Vishesha and other things work. Samanyat Vishesha Avagatehe Aprastutaprashamsayaha Udaharanam. This is so the two examples that we saw were Sarupya Nibandhana. Now it is Samanya Vishesha Bhavaha. The connection between Aprastutam and the Prastuta, Pratiyamana Prastutam, the connection here is Samanyat Vishesha Avagatihi. Vidhaya Vairam Samarshe Naraha Arau Ya Udasate Prakshipya Udarchishaha Kakshe Sherate Te Abhimarutam. This is from Shishupala Vadha. Prakshipyodarchisham Kakshe. Krishnena Samarshe Vairini Shishupale Udasitum Na Yuktam iti Prakritasya Visheshasya Samanyena Aprastutena Avagatihi. So the Samanyam here is Samanya and Vishesha. How do you take that? The Samanyam is usually about generalization. And Vishesha is you are explaining the story about a particular person or a particular animal, something, particular being. So there should be the mention of a particular person, then it is Vishesha. If it is in general a man who does this, a person who does this, then it is a Samanya. The Samanya Vyavahara here is Vidhaya Vairam Samarshe Naraha Samarshe Arau Vidhaya Vairam Yaha Naraha Udasate. Yaha Naraha, this is not Krishna, but it is actually Balrama who says this in Nanikre. It is only through Balrama that I remember, because it is 42, it is not Krishna's speech. It is 242. So it is actually Balaramena Samarshe Vairini Shishupale Udasitum Na Yuktam Ityuktam. Yaha Naraha, a person who has already established enmity with his enemy. So Arau, Samarshe Arau, an Ari, a Kshatru who has already become very angry here. Tasmin Vishaye Vairam Vidhaya, if he has an enmity towards such a person and he is not doing anything to do that. So the context here is actually Krishna is trying to he is being called by Yudhishthira Yakshamane Nahutaha Parthenatat Dushanmuram Ityeva. The second sarga starts. So he has got an invitation from Yudhishthira to attend the Rajasuya Yagam. There is Shishupala also who is creating trouble on this side. Krishna has to decide between whether going to Rajasuya Yagam or to go to kill Shishupala. These are the two things that he is vacillating between. And he calls a council with Uddhava and Balrama. So the three of them are sitting together and talking. In the first few shlokas, within 10 shlokas, or 15 shlokas, Krishna explains the situation and he says, do I go here or do I go here? What do I do? So Balrama, as with his attitude, he says, listen, you have already declared war with this enemy. And he is also angry. He is also constantly troubling you. He is making a mistake towards you. I will tolerate 100 mistakes. Ityeva tatra pratignya krita krishnena. Khalu? Tasmat atra Samarshe Arau Satu adad in the Kanganam Katin Rikardimbo Baddha Varikaraha Saha Shishuvalaha Duruktibihi Tam Nindatieva Krishna. So Samarshe Arau, he has also declared war. Krishna has also said that, I can tolerate only so much, but then after that I'm going to kill him. Right? So Vidhaya Vairam Vidhaya, Virodha Bhavam Vidhaya, Yaha Naraha Udasate, if he remains neutral, that is similar to Prakshipyodarchisham Kakshe Sherate Te Abhimarutam. Te Abhimarutam Udarchisham Kakshe Prakshipya. Having placed the Udarchi is the flaming jwala of a fire. Abhimarutam yaha sherate. Those people are actually trying to sleep in the direction of the wind after having lit the fire. You have a campfire, Udarchisham prakshipya, having placed a fire in front, and they are sleeping in front of the fire in the direction of the wind. That means the fire is going to come and destroy them also. This is a samanya. This neither talks about Krishna's action towards Shishupala, nor does it talk about whether he has to go to the Rajasu Yagam. Krishna is not mentioned, Shishupala is not mentioned. Everything is about a person in general, or those people who light a fire and they are sleeping in front of the wind. Abhimarutam sherate. If they are facing the wind and they are sleeping, then the wind is going to push the fire in front of them and they are going to get burnt in that fire. This is how a neutral person is. If he has also declared war against someone and that enemy is also with anger. Now you have to apply it to the Prastutam. What is the Prastutam? Krishnena, here actually Krishna, who has declared war with the Shishupala. This is a statement by Balrama. He is talking about what is the state of Krishna here. Krishnaha eva saha naraha yaha samarshe vairini Shishupale vairam vidhaya, having declared war, udasitum ichchati, that is, he wishes to stay neutral in this manner, but that is not correct. It is like sleeping in front of the fire, in front of the flow of the wind, in front of the fire. That is, you are looking for your own destruction. So prakritasya visheshasya samanyena aprastutena avagatihi. So this is your aprastutam, which is a samanya in general, and prakritam is Krishna and Shishupala vyavahara, which is the vishesha in particular. Is that clear? Next one is vishesha nibandhanayaha udaharanam अंकाधिरोपितमिगस् चंद्रमा मृगलांछनः केसरीं निष्ठुरक्षिप्तः मृगयूथो मृगाधिपः निष्ठुरक्षिप्त मृगयूथो मृगाधिपः. This is from this is the description of the same context. This is also said by Balrama in Shishupala, the same second sarga. It's a very beautiful sarga. Actually, I love this sarga because it has a lot of these. It is not about description or anything. It has such Aprastutaprashamsa and Arthantranyasa in it, with small anushtup slokas, and talking about which is right, which is wrong, whether you should do this or not, analysis of the situation. So it says Mrigalanchana Chandramaha Anka Adhiropitaha Mrigaha Chet Mrigalanchanaha iti kathyate. Chandrama seems to have a very kind attitude towards the mriga, the deer, and it is given sharanam in its own lap. But what do we talk about the Chandra? We say he is mriga lanchanaha. He has that stain of a mriga. Lanchana is actually chinna. But what do we say? We say that it is lanchana also means stain, like a tattoo. He has stained himself by giving sharanam to a deer or some animal. The black portion in a Chandra, in the moon, is in the form of a deer. So it seems as if, he has stained himself by giving refuge to a deer. Anka adhiropita mrigaha. Chandramaha, the moon, which has adhiropita, which has taken onto its anka, lap, a deer, it is called as mriga lanchanaha. If you are kind to someone, you are stained by it. That's the samanya, that is aprastutam. Sorry, that is prastutam, that Balrama wants to tell Krishna. If you give yadatta kudta madatta pudipambo. If you give more and more space, he is going to come and sit on your head. It's like the camel and the Arab story. Kesarim nishturakshipta mrigayutho mrigadipaha. Kesari, natu tatra kesarim iti nasti. Kesari ityeva. So kesari, a lion, which just falls on a herd of deer, nishtura, in a cruel manner. It kshipta, it just falls on a herd of deer. Mriga yuthaha. What is it called? Mriga adhipaha. He is called the king of the deer. So you have to show your supremacy by killing Shishupala. Otherwise, you will be treated as a weak person, and there's no point in it. That shows the character of Balrama also. Characterization by Shishupala is just beautiful in that sarga. Both Krishna, Uddhava, the flip side is Uddhava. Balrama is more emotional and he will talk, but then, and he will be the first one to talk also. The next will be Uddhava, who will give him a more, calming advice. So you will have to wait for the opportunity. Tikshnaha eva bahu manyate na mruduhu. Only a person who is very sharp, he only will be honored. Not a person who is very soft in treatment. Iti samanyam artham avagamayitum visheshaha atra abhihitaha. Balrama wants to say that, only people who have valor and show their power are going to be treated well. Not a person who is very soft. The Vishesha here is, he is talking about a particular incident of moon and deer, a lion and a deer. This is particular things that he is mentioning. And in general, how a person should be is the prastutam that is understood from the context, from the non-context. Are you clear? Okay. Now, karanena karyavagatihi and this karyena karanavagatihi, these two are some very difficult shlokas, and this is enough for the exam, and those two are even more confusing because you will forget Aprastutaprashamsa. It is better to, I would rather not teach those and move on to the next alankara if you're okay. இதுவே போறோம்.
Why Maudya? Why Maudya?
அல்ல, அது என்னன்னா, the காரணாத்து காரிய பிரதீதி இருக்கு இல்லையா, it is a tough one to understand. நமக்கு இதுவே it is இந்த varieties படிச்சுட்டு, the next round when we read the original Kuvalayananda again with the arguments and everything, then it will become more clear. அதுக்காக சொல்றேன். Yeah. Now we will do Prastuta Ankura alankaraha. Prastutena prastutasya dyotane prastutankuraha. The prastutam is being described. From there, we also gather another prastutam. Another context is, so this present prastutam becomes an ankuram for the tree of another prastuta, which is pratiyamana. Let's see how that goes. So prastutena prastutasya dyotane prastuta ankuraha kim bhringa satyam malatyam ketakya kantaka iddhaya. Hey Bringa, Malatyam Satyam, when the Malati flower is present, why do you want to go to the Ketaki flower, which is filled with a lot of thorns? This is the Prastutam. Someone is describing a Prastuta. He is with his Priyatama, he is with his Naika, and he is describing a scene that is the Prastutam here. Okay? This is not Samasokti also, because Samasokti, Prastutam is described, but non-context is seen in the Pratiyamana. So let's go over the Vyakhyana and we know. Prastutena Varnyamanena Anyasya Abhimatasya, that is also wished by the Nayaka to convey. He wants to convey that Prastutam also. Prastutasyeva Dyotane Prastuta Ankuraha Nama Alankaraha. So, hey Bringa, Malatyam Satyam, Vidyamanayam. When Malati Pushpam is present, and that is softer, that is nice, you have Madhu from there, but at the same time, the creeper is also approachable. It is not like this Ketaki, which the Ketaki flower, Tharambungrolya, the Tharambuk, the corners are all sticking out like that. So, this Ketaki is the flower that is not used for Shiva. Poisakshi sonnadu, it was the fake witness for Brahma. So that flower is usually has a lot of thorny edges. Right? Kantaka iddhaya kantakaihi vyaptaya ketakya kim. Why do you want to go there? Atra priyatamena sakam udyane viharantyaha. Okay, so this a lady who is roaming around with her Nayaka, Bahudosha Yukta Paravanita Sangat Kantam Nivartayitum Ichantyaha. So a lady is there, Nayika Vartate, Satu Priyatamena Saha Udyane Viharati. And that Priyatama, she wants to, he has a lot of doshas within him, and he is also approaching many other ladies also. So the Sakhi is warning this girl that, you should not have a sangam with this man because he has bahudosha. When there is your another Nayaka who is even more, he is devoted completely to you and he is not filled with such doshas, you should probably consider him and not this fellow. It's like a warning thing for her. So, Priyatamena Sakam Udyane Viharantyaha Bahudosha Yukta Paravanita Sangat Kantam Nivartayatum Ichantyaha Kulavanitayaha Vachane. So, this or it can be the other way also. She, the Naika herself, wants to warn her Priyatama, who has many other affairs also. Warn Matrolla. She is trying to beg him. She says, why do you want to go to other people when I am here? Iti. Kula vanitasa tam kantam nivartayitum ichchati. She wants to stop him from making mistakes. So, iti vachane vachyarthasya bringa upalambaha. It is like she is criticizing the bee in the vachyartha. She is saying, why are you trying to go to the Ketaki instead of going to Malati? Dhyotyasya, the Dhyotanam, the intended meaning here, her Vivaksha is to point out to that Kanta, to her Nayaka, and say that, listen, you should not go to other people. Why are you going to other people when I am here for you? Paravanita Sakta Shriya Upalambha Rupartha. Striya. Paravanita Sakta. புக்ல என்ன போட்டிருக்கோம்?
கிரியாவா
இருக்கலாம். பரவனிதா சக்த கிரியா.
பிரியோ.
பிரியா உபலம்ப. கரெக்ட். பரவனிதா ஆசக்த பிரியா உபலம்ப ரூப அர்த்தஸ்ய. So she is trying to criticize Upalambha Ninda. She is criticizing her Priya, her Kanta, who is Asakta, who is connected with Paravanita, with another woman. So that is also the Prastutam. She wants to, criticize him, but she doesn't want to do it directly. But she is criticizing the bee, and from that we arrive at the context which is criticizing him. Avanak puriyano. He has to understand that she is actually criticizing him. If that is the case, then if that is not the case, then there is no point in saying such a statement also. Okay, so prastutena eva prastutasya dhyotanam prastuta ankura alankaraha. Atra aparam udaharanam anyasu tavad upamardha sahasu bhringa lolam vinodaya manas sumano latasu balam ajata rajasam kalikam akale vyartham kadarthayasi Kim Navamallikaayaha. Anyasu tavad upamardha sahasu bhringa lolam manaha vinodaya. He bhringa upamardha sahasu anyasu sumano latasu lolam manaha vinodaya. You go and entertain your mind in all the creepers which has full of flowers, and they can also tolerate upamardha saham. They are able to tolerate your upamardha, your stamping. This bee keeps on coming and standing on one flower and then moving away, then coming back again. It keeps on stamping those flowers and then trying to take the squeezing out the madhu, right? So you go to other flower creepers. Tava lolam manaha vinodaya. You entertain your fickle mind in anyasu, other upamardha sahasu sumano latasu, in other flower creepers which are capable of taking your assault. Balam ajata rajasam kalikam akale ajata rajasam. Akale vyartham kadarthayasi navamallikaayaha balam. So navamallikaayaha balam kalikam vyartham kadarthayasi. You are unnecessarily kadarthayasi, you are making it அதாவது பிரயோஜனம் இல்லாத அதை பண்றேன்னு அர்த்தம். Troubling illa. Kadarthayasi is more like कुत्सितार्थं करिष्यति खलु सो कदर्थयसि तर्हि तत्र अर्थमेव नास्ति तस्य तदनन्तरम् उपमर्देन पीडन भ्रमरस्य पीडाम् अनुभूय तत्र पुष्पस्य तु पुष्पं तु व्यर्थं भवति and it can also be rendered useless kadarthayasi right, and you're also unnecessarily troubling it and unnecessarily making it useless. It is a very small just navamallika kalika iti cheta tatra muttumbo, yeah, it's a bud, balam kalikam, it's a small young bud, and ajata rajasam, it has not even got those pollen grains for you to go there and pick up madhu. It doesn't, it is, the madhu has not even formed up in this navamallika flower, which is still in the form of a bud. Don't go and put a hole inside and try to suck the this thing there. It's a very small young flower. It cannot tolerate your troubling here. So atrapi bhringa upalambhasya vachyarthasya. This is the vachyartham here is trying to criticize the bee which is going to all these soft buds which cannot tolerate that trouble. Vachyarthasya तथा प्रौढ़ अंगनासु सतीषु बालिकां रतये क्लेशयतः कामिनः उपालंबरूप द्योत्यार्थः. So there is a kami who is a lusting person, he is lusting after a young girl, and like when there are women who are more experienced in these matters, so she is trying to criticize that guy who is going after a young girl who is not even experienced anything, and she's just flowering in that stage. She doesn't know any of those artifices and all that. She doesn't know how to behave with men. So a girl, she looks at this kanta, looks at that kami and says, when there are more experienced women who can tolerate your troubles, why are you going after this lady, this young girl? Iti upalambharupa dyotya arthasya prastutatvat. That is also the intended. Idellame, this will all fit, and Prastutankura is something that you can identify only if in a context, in a wider context. Without the help of the Vyakhyanam, we can't do it, one. The other thing is, you have to see where this occurs in a kavyam, whether both are true. Let's say this actually happens if you are describing a scene where there are a lot of these ladies and kami or kanta, everybody are there, and the poet's intention is to describe such a scene. Like Nagararnava Shailartu Varnanam tu Mahakabye Vartate. Nagara Varnane Prayaha Evam Udyane Prachalatasti iti. If he wants to describe the scene in Udyanam, he will devote some 15 shlokas for that description of the Udyanam, and he will talk about people in general, how they are interacting. So put this in that kind of a scene context, then you will understand that the Bhringa Vyavaharaha is also context, and the Nayaka or Kami Upalambha Vyavaharaha is also context. Priyata, is that clear?
Clear.
Anayoho udaharanayoho vacyarthasya prastutattvena tatra abhidayaha vishrantehe arthasaundarya balat vivakshitartha pratitihi dvanihi eva na alankaraha. Okay. Now what does he say? Yatra pratiyamanasya vacyartha upaska. In these two udaharanas, in these two examples, 1 minute. So the context for this discussion is Dhvanyalokakara has mentioned certain shlokas in this format where you have the prastutam as the vachyartha. The pratiyamanartha is also prastutam. Then it is a category of anyapadesha uktihi. It is an anyapadesha dhvani. Anya apadesha. இன்னொன்னத்தை குறிக்கிறதுக்காக நம்ம ஒரு குத்தி காமிக்கிறதுன்னு சொல்றோம் இல்லையா, அந்த மாதிரி. Very similar to using somebody else, using the context of somebody else. You are criticizing the bee, but you are actually criticizing the person who is also within earshot. It is meant for that particular person. So this becomes a pratiyamana or a dhvani vyavahara. Dvanyalokakara has established this as a kind of dhvani, vastu dhvani, whereas Appayya Dikshita in his Chitramimamsa, he has said that this is only alankara, this is not dhvani. So that discussion is put here by this author of this Vyakhyata also. So anayoho udaharanayoho, in both of these cases, Vachyarthasya prastutattvena tatra abhidayaha vishrantehe. You have three vyaparas. One is abhida, lakshana, and then vyanjana. Abhida vyapara is the vyapara with which you understand the meaning of the words that are given in the shloka. You arrive at the vachyartha based on the vachaka shabda. When you analyze the meaning, that is analyze the words which are the vachaka shabdaha, through that, through the vyapara called abhida, that is when the process with which you arrive at the meaning is called abhida. So abhidayaha vishrantehe, where abhida stops at the level of direct meaning. Vachyarthasya prastutatvena, because the vachyartha is prastutam, it is a criticization of the, it is a critiquing the B. That's all. You know, you are criticizing the B. With there, the abhida ends. Vishrantehe. It is a meaningful sentence. She is criticizing the B, and that meaning is purti, sampurnam. It is complete on the abhida level itself. So tatra abhidayaha vishrantehe. Now what happens? Artha saundarya balat. Because of the beauty of the meaning that comes out of it, vivakshita artha pratitihi, the intended meaning, vivaksha, ya imam shlokam vadati, tasyaha tu manasi kimapi vivaksha vartate, but she is not directly expressing it in this manner. But that vivakshita arthasya pratitihi tu pratiyamana sthare vartate, that is dvanihi eva. Then that Prastuta Pratiyamanam, when you arrive at that, because of Artha Saundaryam, it is not alankara, it is only dhvani. This is the stance of Anandavardhana and Abhinavagupta here. Yatra Pratiyamanasya Vachyartha Upaskarakatvam Tatraiva Alankaratvam iti kechit. It can become an alankara only if it comes and beautifies the prastutam. Pratiyamanasya, pratiyamanarthaha yaha vartate, that is kami upalambaha, kami ninda, or kanta ninda. That kanta ninda is the pratiyamanartha that comes to be an angam for the vachyartha. If that becomes secondary to the vachyartha upaskarakatvam chet, tatraiva alankaratvam. Only when the pratiyamana artha is gunibhutam to the vachyartha, there is alankara, otherwise it is dhvani. This is the idea of Abhinavagupta. Tanmate idam vaksyamanam prastutankura alankarasya udaharanam. In their matam, that is in Abhinavagupta's matam, this following shloka becomes the example for Prastutankura alankara, aparam udaharanam. Koshadvandvam iyam dadhati nalini kadamba chanchukshatam dhatte chutalata navam kisalayam pumskokilaswaditam ityakarnya mithas sakijana vachaha sa dirghikaya state chelante tirodadhe stanatatam bimbadharam panina. Koshadvandvam iyam nalini kadamba chanchukshatam dadhati. So two women, sakijana vachaha, two friends are talking. Mithaha sakijana vachaha. There is a third lady who is standing there, dirghikayaha tate, on the banks of a river or banks of a small pond, madri ureda, where she can take a bath. She is standing there on that tatam. Sakijana vachaha sa dirghikayaha tate akarnya. She listens to the words that are being spoken by these two ladies. What are they saying? They are saying that Nalini iyam, this lotus, Koshadvandvam, she has two petals which are kadamba chanchukshatam. It has been bitten by the beak of a hamsa, of a swan. Kadamba is a variety of swan, and that kadamba Kadamba Kadambini ityasti kala. So Kadamba is actually a variety of swan here. So Hamsena, Hamsasya Chanchuna Kshatam Vartate Nalinyaha Koshadvandam. So Iyam Nalini, this lotus seems to be bearing two petals which have been bitten by a Hamsa's beak, the beak of a swan. Adukapra. Yam Chutala Navam Kisalayam Chutalata Dhatte. The Chutalata, the mango creeper, also has very soft Kisalayam, very soft leaves that have come about. Pumskokila Aswaditam, which has been tasted by the male cuckoo bird. The male cuckoo bird is very sweet in its tone, and it has got its sweet tone because of eating the tender leaves of the Chuta Amra Vriksha. When it eats those tender leaves of the mango tree, it seems to, pakvam karoti tasya kantham, and then it is able to sing very sweetly. These two ladies are looking at the Chutalata and they're saying, Chutalata Navam Kisalayam Datte. This mango creeper seems to have new leaves which have already been tasted by the Pumskokila, by the male cuckoo bird. Iti mitaha sakijanavachaha akarnya. Having heard those two words, they are the context there. Her context is very different here. This lady who has heard, Naika, who hears these words, she thinks that they are talking about her, and that the Kosha Dvandvam here refers to her Stanadvayam, and it has been bitten. So it has the marks of the Nayaka, and her Bimbadaram also, her lips are also showing the marks of being kissed by the Nayaka. That is why immediately what she does is Chelante Stanatatam Tirodade. She covers her the top portion of her stanam, of her breasts, with the top of her chela, of her sari, and Bimbadharam Panina. She also covers her lower lip with her hand. Tirodade, she covers it. So Iyam Nalini Hamsa Chanchu Kshatam Mukula Dvandvam Dhatte. Kosha Dvandvam or Mukula Dvandvam, it has two. Nalini can mean a lotus plant which has two small buds which have been bitten by the bird. Tatha Iyam Chutalata Kokila Aswaditam Navam Kisalayam Dhatte iti Vapi Tate Sakijanasya Paraspara Alapam Shrutva. Having heard the conversation, Paraspara Alapam, the ladies are standing there. There is actually a mango plant there. There is also a lotus plant there, which probably has two buds where the Annapakshi has come and bitten. The Nava Pallavam in the Chutalata has also been tasted by the Pumskokila. So this Sakijana are talking Paraspara Alapam Shrutva. The third lady hears this. Prastuta Naika. She is the contextual Naika here. Kamala Mukula Chuta Pallava Vyajena, using the disguise of Kamala Mukulam, the lotus buds, and Chuta Pallavam, the leaves of a mango tree. Atmanaha Stana Adhara Kshata Vrittantam Kathayati iti Jnatva. Knowing that those two are actually talking about her, the wounds that are there on her body, she immediately covers her Stanatatam Vastrantena Adharamcha Panina Tirodadhe Ityatra Vyangyarthasya Prastutantarasya. This is also a context, and this is another Vyangyartha, that is that she has been with the Nayaka. That section is another Prastutam here. Swayameva Kavina Uttarardhe Avishkritatvat Alankaratvam. This context that she has covered her stanam and she is covering her adharam also, this is another context which those two are alluding to. If only the first two lines were there and this was not there, then it is Dwani. Because these two lines are also there, it means that those two lines talk about the Naika Nayaka Vyavaharaha. Yena Iyam Naika api swa nakhakshataadi tatra tirodadhe iti. Priyada, is that clear? Why where there is alankara and where there is dhvani. If only the first two lines were mentioned, then it is dhvani. Since all four lines are there and there is a reaction to that also based on the understanding of the second context, it is alankara. Yeah.
So,
but one is
according
not.
to these people, the previous one is dhvani, not alankara,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Kamuka Ninda is not there directly, so
Yes.
it was just dhvanyate
It was
tatra.
dhvani. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And both of them are considered prastuta.
Yes.
If it is alankara. If it is not an alankara, if it is considered as dhvani, then
it can be prastutam also. Of course, it is prastutam. Even if it is dhvani, it is prastutam only.
Okay.
But it does not become an anga to the vachyartha. Yeah.
It should be directly stated in that thing. Correct. Context. If it is left to our
the imagination,
then it is dhvani. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Tathacha uktam dhvanyaloke.
But still, even if it is something derived by our own imagination, still it is a prastutam only.
If it applies to the prastutam, no?
Okay.
It should apply to the context
both are
there.
Prastuta, right?
Yes, both are prastuta only.
Prastuta.
When you read dhvanyaloka,
so
it will be more clear.
In that Aprastutaprashamsa previous one, the Aprastutaprashamsa was
Vachyartha.
Vachya. Okay. But here both are Prastuta. Whatever is told is also Prastuta, and what it applies to is also Prastuta. Okay.
Yes. See, if someone who is in a sabha of people, there is no Chataka bird there. Ekah kriti shakuntasya. He is just standing with everybody, all of these beggars, maybe all of the people who have come to ask for dhanam, or dakshinartham tatra sarve api they are militaha santaha, and he is just talking about some Chataka bird. There is no Chataka bird there for that to be a context.
Correct. Yeah.
So tathacha uktam
that's why you
dhvanyaloke.
Explained that you have to imagine Udyanavana or something and Nagara Varnana, and that's why you explain.
Yes. So Shabdartha Shaktya va akshiptaha vyangyaha arthaha kavina punaha yatra avishkridyate swa uktya sa anyaiva alankritihi dhvanehe. So dhvanehe alankritihi, dhvanehe from dhvani, alankritihi anyaeva. Alankara is completely different from dhvani. If swa uktya eva avishkriyate, shabdartha shaktya akshiptaha vyangyaha arthaha. If the kavi wants to talk about a pratiyamanam using shabda artha shakti, he wants to use shabda shakti and artha shakti, and he wants to indicate some other vyangya artha, then that is dhvani. Yatra swa uktya eva avishkriyate sa alankritihi. Wherever it is specified, like in this koshadvandam example, that is alankriti, that is alankara. It is different from dhvani. Okay. So